action has to be somehow compensated by some kind of reward. And we like to conform, so rules are very useful for us. They give us a framework to work in. And greed is also interesting because we'll compete, because we're greedy. So what we do in open source is we get people to compete in a useful way rather than just having toxic competition. And because we're kind of afraid of failure especially and being humiliated, it should be safe to fail. Make that really easy. People will fail happily. Now the license we use, do either of you play music? Yeah? So when you're a musician, the difference between playing solo in a studio or playing in a group and playing in the live jam. And it's the same as software. You can be a very good and talented software developer. Playing by yourself, writing by yourself is very different than working in a community, working in a group. The open source license defines how the group works. So the license is the contract on which the community will build. And there are different kinds of contracts. There's typically the BSD and the GPL as two families of contracts, and I'll compare them very briefly. I'm a firm believer in GPL, but that's my point of view because where I am, and I'll explain why that is. The BSD essentially says, here is stuff, eat this. So it's giving software up, technology up as a food product. You can take this, you can eat it, and there's no request for any kind of reciprocity. You can just take it. There's some community building because it is, after all, open source. People can get involved, but there's what I call leakage. People will take the software, they will use it, and they won't give back. It's the kind of the default behavior. It's like when you're trying to burn wet paper. It will burn, but if you keep applying fire to it. So it's very good for certain kinds of groups. If you're a bank and you wanted to open source some stack, you'd use a BSD license. It's absolutely straightforward, or Apache.